back pillow.
Right.
Back pillow. Look at that.
Let's talk about a miracle.
All right, testing 1, 2, 1, 2. Well, welcome to the Course in Miracles, and us being here is a miracle. That'd be like the first miracle we want to acknowledge is the fact that we're here, especially in Colorado on a day like this. You know, so the idea of doing something else can come up really easily. So I want to thank you and acknowledge you for being willing to show up. It just shows you how desperate you are. For another way to look at things. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear it. Those of you on Facebook Live, I want to welcome you to watching the Course in Miracles class today. And it's always a pleasure to have people online all over the world as well as in the room. I can feel the energy. It feels good. So what I like to do at the very beginning is acknowledge us. Let's do it for us. Us. We're cool. Yes. Today I'm going to talk about in the Course in Miracles a section that's on page 151. If you have the book, and it's the Foundation for Inner Peace version of A Course in Miracles. It's on page 151, chapter 8, section 7. And that section is called The Body as a Means of Communication. The body as a means of communication. That's what I'm going to cover today, as much of it as I can cover. The body as a way of communicating. The body as a way of joining. The body as a way of joining minds. It's a deep section. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's a deep section. It's going to be challenging to your belief system, but that's what the Course in Miracles does. That's what the Course in Miracles is for. And so I'm going to go over right quick the guidelines for the Course, especially if you're here for the first time. It's really some tough guidelines, so I'm going to run them down to you. First of all, you need not believe the ideas. You need not accept the ideas. You need not welcome the ideas. Got it? You don't have to believe it. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to welcome it. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to welcome it. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to accept it. You don't have to welcome it. Some of the ideas are going to be startling. Some of the ideas are going to be opposite to the way that we already think, because that's what new means. New means different. New means I'm opening myself up to hear something other than what I already believe. He says some of the ideas are going to be startling, some of the ideas are going to be hard to believe, but if you were to use the ideas, you would see that the ideas work and that the ideas are true. Also, the Course in Miracles says that I'm not asking you to analyze the ideas, so I don't spend a lot of time in my classes analyzing, because that's not what it says you should do. So analyzing doesn't really do any good anyway. It's just a way of breaking it down and get more confused about it. It's amazing sometimes how people will have revelations and then they'll start analyzing it, and by the time they get through analyzing it, they lose all the energy that they got out of the revelation that they just gave themselves. That's because the old self feels threatened by what you just started to realize, so it does everything in its power to distract you from using the new direction, to keep using the direction you've already been using that keeps you in the patterns you've already been in. Whether you realize it or not, there's a part of you that you are identifying with that you built up since you were born, based on everything you've been taught and you've experienced since you were born. The Course in Miracles calls that the ego, the part of us that thinks it's separate, the part of us that think we are what we think we are, the part of us that comes up with an image of who we are, and then we say that's who we are. We know that's not who we are because it constantly changes. Who you were 2 years ago, you would say you're not that person today. And you're going to say that 2 years from now about the one that's sitting in the chair today, so why don't you just speed things up and do it today? Okay, because you're going to say, as much as you think this is you, you'll look back 5 years from now and say, wow, that person I thought I was in 2018 was not me at all. And so don't fall for the self-image or the ego that you have now and think that that is you. But the Course in Miracles teaches that there is an essential self, a real self that's beyond the concepts that we have of ourselves. And the Course in Miracles is only concerned with one thing, and that's our perception, the way that we're seeing things. And that's another important thing. It's not really caught up in money, power, fame, physical pleasure, special love in the way that we do it. That's not what the Course in Miracles is about. The Course in Miracles is about you achieving peace of mind And when you achieve peace of mind, it says you can hear your own inner self, you can hear your own inner guidance. That your inner self is guiding you all the time. But you're too busy listening to what you're making up, so you don't hear what your real self is saying. You know, like right now, you know, some of you could be busy thinking about what you're going to do when you leave, what happened before you got here. So you're listening to the voice you're making up in this moment. And the Course in Miracles is saying that's really where your conflict and unhappiness is coming from. It's coming from the thoughts that you have and that you're listening to. And then you're projecting them out on the situations and circumstances around you. And so every now and then you would draw things into your life to give you an opportunity to see how good you are at interpreting things in such a way that you don't lose your peace. And then you have to learn how to forgive yourself for how miserably you fail. Yeah, you know, because you think you got your act together until something that comes up different than what you want, and then you find that you still got a lot of the exact same patterns that you've always had, but you don't know it until the thing happens that's different from your script. You know, so you swear you got your act together until something doesn't go your way, and then you find yourself almost uncontrollably getting angry, and you go, wow. Oh, I did my Course in Miracles lesson 2 times in the last 10 years, and I'm still getting upset. What caused that to happen? You know what I'm saying? So we're going to talk about the body as a means of communication. I'm going to go through the paragraph, hit on what the main points are in the paragraph, and then at some point I'm going to throw it open for a few minutes for any kind of questions that we might have. But I am going to keep the questions focused in on what we're talking about and relating it to what we're talking about. That's just what I'm going to do, okay? So for instance, the first sentence says attack is always physical. That attack is always physical. When attack in any form enters your mind, it means you're equating yourself with the body. But when any kind of attack enters your mind, you're equating yourself with the body because that's your ego's interpretation of the body. The part of me that thinks I am a body, that part of me equates myself with being this body. All right, and then the Course says, you do not have to attack physically to accept this interpretation. What interpretation? The interpretation that when attack in any form enters your mind, you're equating yourself with the body. Say you are accepting it simply by the belief that attack can get you something that you want. If you didn't believe attack could get you something that you want, the idea of attack would have no appeal to you. If you didn't think your anger could get you something that you wanted, you wouldn't get angry. If you didn't think your depression could get you something that you wanted, you wouldn't get depressed. So the Course is saying that you wouldn't use whatever you're using unless you thought it could get you something that you wanted. That whatever you're doing right now, you're doing it that way because you think it's going to get you something that you want. See, that's logical. I wouldn't do it if I didn't think it was going to give me something that I want. So the Course says when you are accepting it simply by the belief that attack gets you something that you want. Attack is always physical. When attack in any form enters your mind, you're equating yourself with the body, since that's the ego's interpretation of the body. So my fearful mind interpretation of the body is that the body is something that I will use, and anger is something that I will use through my body to help me get something that I want. Because how am I letting you know I'm mad at you? Through my body. How am I letting you know I'm upset with you? Through something I'm using my body to show you that I'm upset about. You have to watch the Course in Miracles. It's so simple, so reasonable, and so logical, it will elude us. So be sure to tune in because it makes perfect sense and we're not used to that. Okay, so it takes us a minute to get something that makes total sense. So then it says, when you equate yourself with the body, you will always experience depression. So you're experiencing depression because you think you're a body. Why wouldn't it be depressing to think you're a body? Well, a body is fragile. A body can end. A body can get sick. It looks like a body can be destroyed. It can be killed. It can be hurt. So we may be in incredible levels of denial about it, but the body is fragile. Even though we like to pretend it's not, we know the body is very fragile. So the Course in Miracles is saying you are an unlimited spiritual being. You are a mind. You are consciousness. You are spirit. You are more than your body. You're more than you think you are. You're a child of an infinitely powerful creator. And so when you belittle yourself by seeing yourself as this limited little thing that gets constipation, then you're losing contact with who and what you really are. Oh, I'm an unlimited child of God. Oh my God, I got horrible toothache. You see what I'm saying? I'm an unlimited child of God. Oh, my back is hurting. So the Course in Miracles is saying very logically that, well, if you equate yourself with being something that's fragile, that's not going to exactly make you feel really, really excited. Then the Course in Miracles says, when a child of God thinks of himself in this way, he's belittling himself. So when a child of God thinks of themselves as just being a limited body, the Course in Miracles says you're belittling yourself. And if I see myself as just a limited body, I'm going to see you as limited bodies too. I'm going to see you the same way I see me. So if I see me as limited, I'll see you as limited. If I think I can get depressed, I'll think you can get depressed. If I think I can attack, I'll think you can attack. Whatever qualities I apply to myself, I'm going to also apply to everything and everybody around me. Your mind automatically does that. Anything that you say about anybody else, your mind automatically applies that to you, whether you know it or not, according to this. So the Course in Miracles says, since you can only find yourself in your brothers and sisters, you're cutting yourself off from your salvation, which is your peace. So if I see you as little and I see me as little, I'm actually cutting myself off from my peace, because now we're both seeing each other in ways that are not true for either one of us. That was one paragraph. That was one paragraph. So what did it say? Well, attack is always physical. What does that mean? I cannot mentally attack you. If I never get out of my chair and come up and physically attack you, you wouldn't feel anything from me. Now, you may make yourself feel bad about something I say to you. You may make yourself feel bad about something I call you. But that's not me physically attacking you, hurting you. That's you hurting you based on how you're interpreting what I'm saying. Does that make sense? Now, I know people talk a lot about verbal attack or you emotionally attack me and all that stuff. And I totally get that you can feel that way. But the truth is, if I haven't touched you, you don't have to hurt. Now, that's the truth.
Yeah.
And I don't doubt that there's going to be a lot of yes buts. There are probably a lot of nice round yes buts in here. But I'm telling you, you can't hurt my feelings. I can hurt my feelings about what you say to me. But you can't hurt me if you don't touch me. If you haven't physically touched me, you can't hurt me. Yes, but, no. If I say something to you and you feel devastated, you're feeling devastated because of the meaning you're giving what I just said to you. That's always why you feel bad. No, if I haven't touched you, I haven't hurt you. That's deep. And I know there are a lot of yes buts to that. And we live in a society that is consistently telling us that somebody else is responsible for our upset. That is the teaching of the world. The world loves it when you say whatever you're going through is somebody else's fault. Not only that, people will show you all the ways that you're right about that. They'll remind you of other things that person did. Just in case. Sometimes, So the first paragraph is simply telling us that whenever there's a part of you that thinks that the purpose of your body is to use it to get whatever you want to whatever way you can get it. And then it said to us, attack is always physical. So nobody's really hurting you unless they do it physically. Then it said to us that you are accepting this interpretation that that your body is here for attack. If you believe that attack can get you something that you want, if you didn't think it could get you something that you want, you wouldn't use it. I wouldn't use anger unless I thought it could get me something that I want. For instance, whenever I look at myself as just being this limited body that's only going to be here a certain number of years, then I'm going to go through some form of depression. Yeah. It's highly unlikely 30 years from now I'll still be here. So if I equate myself with this body, then I'm going to get depressed. When you're in your 20s and 30s and teens, you're immortal. But by the time you get in the other side, this level of your existence, all of a sudden, age is more than a number. Okay, which is what everybody said when they're a lot younger than you.
Exactly.
Right. It's just a number. Yeah, you saying that. You're 16. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that. It ain't got nothing to do with how you are right now. But then it says, if I see myself as something that's limited, I'm belittling myself. And if I see you as limited, then I'm belittling you too. Since we're going to find each other in each other, then I'm really cutting myself off from seeing myself as a grand, magnificent being. Mm-hmm. So any questions in the comments about that paragraph and what it was saying?
It's good news.
The number one theme going here is you can't hurt me if you don't touch me.
Right, I know.
A lot of them are also bringing in, I choose the meaning I apply to the words.
That's right.
And so we're
That's
really
right.
resonating with that.
That's the big. To me, that's the most. In the Course in Miracles, that's my personally most powerful statement in the book. Is I give everything all the meaning it has for me. Yeah, that's the one. Maybe.
The part that really stood out to me is, of course, if I think I'm just a body, I'm going to try to use tact to get what I want, because if I don't believe that I'm this, being that is so much more than a body, if I believe I'm truly so fallible, I'm always going to be wanting. I'm always going to need something. I'm always going to be in a state of lack or survival or striving. And so it makes sense that it's if I just think I'm a body, then I'm going to think I need to, attack to have my needs met.
That's right. Exactly. Thank you.
Rather than being an unlimited being that doesn't have to do that to be okay and to be at peace. And
It's an automatic example of you not getting in touch with your magnificent self because now I got to use my body to get.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Connor.
I just love how this stuff is testable and provable, because literally a year ago I sat in this exact same seat with a head full of problems and demons, and I would have to do hour clarity sessions just to even get some sort of perspective, some sort of outside of myself perspective that I'm messing myself up. This year, a simple walk around the block with the dog will give me the same exact clarity that I would used to have to do.
Yeah.
Searching and finding and trying to get outside of myself, but the answer is all in here, and I know it now, and it's crazy.
Saving yourself tons of pain.
Nice.
Tons of pain.
Yeah.
Tons of pain. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else before I go to the next part? Anything else online? Carl?
Well, the other thing that's going on in here is that I see you as I see me. So if I see my magnificence, then I don't have to attack you because I can see your magnificence too.
Right. And I would only have to feel like I needed to attack you to equalize the situation anyway. So I'm thinking I'm already weak to even want to attack you. I think I'm vulnerable. That's why I'm trying to use it. Okay, let's go to the next paragraph then. So I want to see you as magnificent. That's the way I want to see you, and I want to stop using my body as a means to attack you to try to get what I want. Okay, that's what I'm taking away from this. The second paragraph says, remember that the Holy Spirit, which is your loving right mind, your true spiritual identity, the love in you. So don't let the Christian terminology or the religious terminology blow your mind. It's only talking about love or fear. And it's also trying to give us new interpretations of perhaps programming that we got as children that limit us. So it's using the very terms that some of us grew up with to give us new interpretations of those terms, so that you don't have to spend the rest of your life avoiding them.
Yeah.
You can't spend the rest of your life avoiding words. So if you don't like a word, it would be much easier to change your interpretation of it than to make sure you never hear it for the rest of your life, especially in our culture. So remember that the Holy Spirit, your loving self, interprets the body only as a means of communication. Now, the Course in Miracles defines communication as joining minds, joining hearts, joining thoughts. So the purpose of the body, if you are coming from a loving place, you want to use the body as a means to join, not a means to separate. Sometimes when people hear that, they think in terms of sex. Using the body as a means to join. But actually, when you have sex, you're not really joining with the person because you can disconnect. So you never did really join. You just got intensely close. But you never really joined. And so the Course is talking about a real joining is a merging and a connection of the minds. And since the ego is the fearful, guilty part of the mind is against any form of joining, then that's why there's so much guilt around sexuality. Because it's still a form of joining. So it's still the thing that a lot of people have a ton of guilt and fear around. Because it's a form of joining. And the Course says there's a part of us that is absolutely against any form of joining. Yes. And there's another part of us that loves separation. It loves being separate. And so the Course says when you are coming from a loving place, you see the body as a means of communication, because it's the communication link, being the communication link between the Creator and us. The Holy Spirit, which is love, interprets everything you've made in light of what it is. So love is going to use everything as a means of joining. So if I want to join with somebody, then I'm going to use everything in our experience to make us closer, to make us connect more, to make us join more. See what happens, the way that we end up in here a lot of times is if I don't see anybody here at 5 minutes to 1, then I move in here. So I just want to say that you understand whatever time you show up, but that's why I do that. because I don't want to be standing in front of an empty room with 10 people. And then they're all spread all over the room, because that's what happens when there's not a large number of people. People don't get close to each other. They go there, 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 and there. And I like to feel a congruent, powerful energy. So if you really would like to be separate, come earlier. Okay. I'm going to force you to be around each other. Okay. Maybe that'd be some incentive. I don't know. But you're welcome anytime you show up. But that's why you come and we be in the living room. Because literally, 5 minutes to 1, there'll be 3 people here. And the class started 1. Okay. So I'm not trying to stimulate any late guilt. Okay. I know how we are. Okay. All right. Just explaining. I'm using my body for communication. Right? And so the Course in Miracles says, being the communication link between God and the separated sons, the Holy Spirit interprets everything you've made in the light of what the Holy Spirit is. What does that mean? It means that love always wants to join. The ego, which is the fearful part of the mind, separates through the body. So when I'm operating from the fearful part of my mind, I'm going to use my body to separate from you. Or in case of food, it's separate. Okay. Now, the ego separates through the body. Love reaches through the body to others. So a fearful mind uses the body to get away from everybody. A loving mind uses the body to reach people. Then it says, you don't perceive your brothers and sisters as love does, because you don't regard bodies solely as a means of joining minds. That's why I said that definition. And uniting minds with yours and mine. So I don't see the body's purpose as only using the body to join our minds in a common purpose and a common love. I got a lot of other things I want to do with my body other than that. So the Course in Miracles says this interpretation of the body will change your mind entirely about the body's value. The value of the body is in how much love I can allow me to give and receive in my life. The body is no more valuable than how I'm using it to give and receive love. I'll say it again. The body is no more valuable than how you're using it to join and give and receive love. The body, you don't have the body just for all the things we come up with, which is nothing to feel guilty about. The Course says we are more or less educated to want to use the body for power, fame, money, and physical pleasure. I want to get some kind of power, I want to get some type of specialness, I want to get some money, and I want to have some physical pleasure. That's what my body is for. That's the way we are programmed. That pretty much covers it all, doesn't it? Power, money, fame, specialness, and physical pleasure. So most of us, it's all about how much fun, how much pleasure can I have? And the Course is saying, no, actually your body isn't any more valuable than how much it brings real love into your life. Yes. Because that's the only thing that really matters is love. And that's the thing you wake up to as you begin to wake up spiritually. God is love. That God is love. The only thing that's real is love. Everything else is something we think is going to get us that. So the second paragraph then is saying that love is going to use the body to join, fear is going to use the body to separate, and when you use your body for love, then you're going to finally see what the true value of your body is for. Any questions in the comments, anything about that paragraph? Patricia.
So, just a comment. The interesting thing is that when you begin to decide to perpetrate love instead of getting, you get a lot of stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's the paradox of it, that the motivation has to be the perpetration of love.
And the Course teaches that what is our real strength is what we think is our weakness. See, actually, fear-based people are programmed to think that love is actually what hurt them. So when you say you love me, then that's going to bring up my fear, because everybody that's ever hurt me has been someone who said they love me. I haven't had strangers hurt me in my life. I can count the number of times that any stranger has ever hurt me in any kind of way all the years I've been on this planet. But I could give you a list of people who told me they love me that I hurt myself through. That's the way I talk. I hurt myself. Oh, I'm making myself mad about it. Oh, I'm making myself so upset. I'm making myself so angry. I'm making myself believe that person has done this to me. I always preface everything with I made it, I wanted it. Because I want to empower myself. I don't care what's happening. I don't want to feel like I'm the victim of someone else. So I make myself mad. I make myself depressed. I deceive myself.
I'm making myself scared.
I'm making myself scared. You know, I'm making myself mad about you coming home late. I'm making myself mad because I saw you dancing close to somebody else. See, because then I'm empowering me. I'm not saying this other person has the power to affect what's going on with me right now. You know, I'm making myself mad about the political situation in the country.
Me too.
Okay? All right? You know. Yeah. Anybody else making themselves mad? Okay, all right, okay. And so the Course in Miracles calls that an attack upon yourself. One of the exercises in the workbook is actually telling you to think of all the stuff you're upset about and you're making yourself upset about, whoever you got a grievance toward, whatever you're angry about. And, you know, then you get those little tests. Like this morning, I pulled over this little concrete metal park thing at the end of a parking space that you come up to. And somehow another one, I got ready to back off, it caught, so there was a nut on it that caught the underside of the front end of my car and it pulled the bumper out. Oh, no. Right? And so I promptly took a deep breath, felt every feeling that I was feeling, because I don't believe in that pretending I'm not upset when I make myself upset. That's a bunch of crap. That ain't the way spirituality works. Spirituality is being authentic about how you're feeling in the moment and taking responsibility for what's happening. Okay, so I felt my feelings about that, and I kept on telling myself that how I was making myself. You know what? And my higher self kept saying, you know, after I gave it the finger, which makes my higher self laugh hysterically. I remember one time I was talking to this person that was a channel that was supposed to be able to like talk to your invisible guides, right? And I had this long, sad story that I was trying to get my guides to help me out with. You know your story, right? And I was asking the channel, well, what are they saying? What are they saying? And the channel said, well, they're laughing. They're laughing because they think it's ridiculous that you think that you don't have any power over the situation that you're in. You know, so it's like it's owning the fact that I had more power than I thought. Then you immediately get in touch with how much meaning you give to a bumper. Right? So then you get a chance to see the meaning you give to your car, and you get a chance to see, you know, so you get a chance to see the meaning to things really, really quick. And what the higher self was saying to me was, there's no point in getting angry at a fact. It kept saying it over and over again. There's no point in getting angry at it. It's okay, but it doesn't make sense to get angry at a fact. At this point, the fact is the bumper has been pulled off to some degree. So that's a fact. So stop getting angry at a fact. Ask for another way to look at it. Always ask for another way to look at it. And that also shows you that you're still making your happiness dependent on something that's happening outside of yourself. So that also lets you know that you haven't reached the point yet that your peace is totally internal. But you're also handling it 1,000% better than you would have at another time in your life. So always give yourself credit for whatever progress that you've made, and it can be repaired. You know, so I love that my mind works that way now, that I don't have to stop and think, what is it I should say in this situation right here? I've said it enough in all situations that when I needed it, it just started feeding the truth back to me without me having to think about it. That's one of the reasons you want to do the workbook lessons, why you want to study, why you want to apply it, so that when something does come up, you're already fortified in the truth, and then it'll start to talk to you. But I knew it was important to feel my feelings about it. And that allowed me to get to the place of peace faster. So I would invite you not to try to sweep your feelings under the rug with what you think of as positive thinking. Because if you do that, that anger and upset is going to come back to you in other ways. You'll be a nice person surrounded by a lot of angry people. And you think you're the good person that's always being misused and abused by everybody around you. And you don't know that's just a reflection of your own subconscious anger and guilt and upset. Okay? You know, so I had to use my body to communicate love to myself or upset to myself. So use your body solely as a means of joining minds and uniting them. So that's what we're doing right now, by the way. We're using our bodies to join minds and thoughts and purposes. That's what we're doing. You know, the Course in Miracles says, you know, the people that you want to give your body to are basically the people that you're going to be the most prone to want to put your scripts and your anger and your upset on. Because those will be the people you have the most expectations of, as anybody who happens to connect with your body in any kind of way. Right? Isn't that true? So don't be looking at me like I'm saying something that's foreign. You know doggone well how we are about the body. You know, the body is the treasure. Okay. And all I want in return is your whole life.
All of your attention.
And all of your attention, every bit, every second, every moment of the day.
Moment of your presence.
Every moment. That's right. Every breath. You got to work hard for my dysfunctional love. You got to work hard for my dysfunctional love. You got to work for it now. That's right. That's right. So anybody? Okay, I'm going to go to the next one. Those of you online, you all going off. I can tell. Yeah, I know they laugh. That's what I can see. One thing they laugh and they give me a lot of hearts, though. I love that. I tell you, I love all of you. Yeah, so that was like perfect to happen right before coming here. Right? So it's like, okay, you're getting ready to go to the class, you know. Yeah. So then, you know, so it's like, okay. It was so freaky.
Perfect real moment lesson.
Well, I knew it was meant to happen because of the circumstances surrounding it, because I did everything opposite to what I normally do. I parked where I didn't normally park. I went where, you know, it was like it was just set up perfect. It was all the other parking spaces were forced me to go through that particular parking space. So funny. So when I came back to leave to come over here, there was no cars in the garage anywhere. So I could have parked in another place that I normally parked in that never would have happened. So I realized it was some part of me that wanted to have that experience for some reason, and I'm trusting that everything that happens to me is for my own best interest, whether I realize it or not.
Wow.
So therefore, that will always improve the way that I feel no matter what's happened to me, if I tell myself it's for my own best interest, even if I don't understand how. There's nothing you could go through that you could not say that about and you would feel somewhat better. I don't care what happened. You know, oh, that relationship broke up. Oh, well, I don't perceive my own best interest. That might be for my own best interest for that to happen. Oh, I didn't get that job. Oh, that was for my own best interest that I didn't get that job. See, if you believe the universe is a good universe and it's based on love and there's a bigger picture that you don't know about, then you can say that about anything and it be the truth. And it's going to make you feel better. You may not jump up and down leap with joy, but you're going to feel better than you would if you thought you lost as a result of it. So the next sentence says, if you use the body for attack, it's harmful for you. If you use your body to hurt, it's harmful for you. And then it says, if you use your body only to reach the minds of those who believe their bodies. I said again, if you use your body to reach the minds of those who believe they are bodies. So let's break that down. I'm using my body, right, to reach the minds of those who believe they are bodies. He says, and you teach them through the body that's not true, that you are not just bodies. He says, then you'll understand the power of the mind that's inside of you. Yeah. So if you want to get in touch with the power of your mind, you do that by communicating to people that they're more than their bodies, that they're spirit, that they're love, that they are life, that they are unlimited. That's when you get in touch with the power of the mind. Not me focusing on your body exclusively, but actually focusing on that you're even more than your body. That will get me in touch with the power of my own mind. I love that because the Course in Miracles is answering questions that I've asked myself all my life, but it's just not giving me the answers I thought of. So therefore I might not want to hear it. Because what I want is validation for what I already think is true at some level, right? So I'll say it again. What am I doing right now? I'm trying to reach the minds of those who believe their bodies to teach them that they're not bodies, and then I'll understand the power of the mind that's inside of me. Then he says, if you use the body for this and only for this, only for what? Teaching people that they're more than their bodies, teaching people that they are love, teaching people that they are spirit, demonstrating that they have power beyond their wildest imagination. If I use my body for that, he says, and only for that, he says, then I won't be using my body for attack. I can't be using my body to hurt you if I'm using my body to love you. I can't be using my body to attack you if I'm using my body to bring peace. So I know I'm not using my body to attack you if I'm only want to use my body to bring peace to you. So that's how I know I'm not using my body to hurt anybody. I'm not attacking anybody with my body. You aren't either. So sometimes you feel a lot of guilt about what you think you've done to other people that you haven't really done to them. How many times have you been only loving and had people respond to you like you attacked them? Right? Because they're the ones that's interpreting everything. So you have to be clear about your purpose, because if you're clear about your purpose, then you don't have to buy into anybody else's guilt trip, because you know that was not what you were trying to do. I know if I'm not trying to hurt you. I don't care how much you say I am. I know if that's my purpose or not. So you can accuse me of it. I don't apologize to people for things I didn't do. And sometimes that makes people mad. Like they want to project on me that I did something to them that I didn't do. And so therefore I'm not going to apologize because I didn't do it. Because if I apologize, I'm saying you're right. And I didn't do anything to you. I can say I have compassion for what you're going through, that I'd love for you to have peace with me right now in this situation. But I'm not going to act like I did something because you think I did. And so therefore I'm going, please forgive me. And I used to do that kind of stuff. I didn't do anything to them, and they would be upset with me. And I go, well, I'm sorry. I'm like, haven't you? Yeah. You had somebody accuse you of stuff you know you didn't do, but you'll be the one that's apologizing like you did it. And I don't do that, because that's convincing that person that projecting works. That blaming others is the way that they are going to have peace. And so I'm not going to support, I love you too much to support that belief. I know, Con, it's a trip, right? So sometimes when you're trying to be a loving person, you seem like a cold person to someone who likes to project and blame, and who are actually a cold person. Right? You know, it's like as you become more loving, people who are fearful will see you as if you're not loving at all. I love you, so I free you. Well, they take it as you don't care anything about me. You know, I love you, so I'm going to still extend to other people. Well, that means that you're not faithful to me because you're not giving me all your attention. You know, so you have to be, it's okay if you want to deal with a fear-based person, but just understand they're operating from a different set of rules. And so you're probably going to clash with each other and misperceive each other. You know, two people who are both jealous as hell being together, they kind of relate to it, right? Because they both have those feelings. But you're really jealous, and you're with the person that's never jealous. Sometimes you wonder what's wrong with you. You know, and you're always so cool, and I'm going crazy every time we go to a party. What's up? You know, well, in most cases, they're being so cool because you're going crazy. They know they got you. So what's the point of them being jealous? They see that you're completely obsessed with them. So they can be cool and calm while you go crazy. What's going to test them out is when you do the same thing. And you'll find they'll kind of probably be jealous too. You wouldn't have been drawn to each other if you were really completely different. That you wouldn't have never been in each other's experience. One person is just acting more calm because the other one is showing them how special they are by the anger and jealousy and upset that they're showing. So they can afford to be laid back. You know, if I'm walking out the house and I'm dragging you by my ankle, I can kind of feel pretty confident that while I'm gone, you probably, you know, focused on me. You know, so I can go. I don't have a jealous bone in my body. Yes, right. Then it goes on to say, if you use the body for this and only for this, you cannot use it for attack. In the service of uniting, your body becomes a beautiful lesson in what? Communion. And so your body has value until communion is. So I want to use my body in the service of uniting. I want to use my body in the service of joining minds. I want to use my body in the service of love and peace and happiness. I'm clear about that's what I want to use my body for. That's not always what I wanted to use my body for, but that's the purpose of the curriculum, is to help me change my mind, so I want to use it correctly. So therefore, you don't have to be upset with yourself if you're not able to do that yet. Because readiness is not mastery. Just because I'm ready to be more loving, that doesn't mean I am. Don't confuse me ready to be a kind of person to me actually being a kind of person. That's the mistake we make. I sit in the class and I go, I'm ready to have peace. And then I get upset with myself because I walk out of the class and I still get angry about something. Well, you just set the goal of peace. You haven't gone through the mechanics of allowing yourself to have it yet. Readiness is not mastery. Remember that. Because I'm ready doesn't mean I can do it yet. So don't beat yourself up because you can't be the kind person that you want to be yet, or as loving as you want to be yet. But I'm willing to work with a person that wants to be, and they're willing to move in that direction. I'm not looking for you to be perfect in a relationship with me. I just want us to be clear we have the same purpose. If we don't have the same purpose, we don't have no business together. Right? Just take a minute. When somebody says they want to go out with you or they want to spend time with you, you ask them what for. Yeah, just go. What you want to spend time with me? What for? What is it you want to do? What do you want to do with me? If they go to stuttering, you know. They're trying to think of something they can say other than their real reason. I want to go to art showing. That's right. I want to go to art showing. That's what I want to do. But isn't that a simple question, though? Why? Because they walked up for some reason. They had something in mind. They didn't just do it with a blank mind. They had something in mind. Which is fine if you want them to. That's the funny thing about it. You're not offended by something that you want to. But then another person could do the same thing and now you're offended. Why? Because it's not what you want. You gave it a different meaning with this person than you gave it with that person. The act was exactly the same. So we right back to the original premise. I'm giving it all the meaning that it has in me, and there's only two things you're going to do with the person anyway. You're going to either use your bodies to join in mind and heart and spirit, or you're going to use your bodies with each other to create some form of separation and fear. That's all you're doing in any relationship. And if you don't love yourself, you're looking for somebody that's going to be fearful and upsetting. And if you do love yourself, then you want to join with someone that's going to allow you to feel more peace and safety. So first you decide, and then you give yourself the experience. It's not the other way around. First you make the decision, then you give yourself the experience. I've made the decision that I want only peace and love in my life. So that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking for. And I know to be with anybody that doesn't take responsibility for their experience is going to be with somebody that's going to be a drama king or queen for me. It's not really rocket science. It's just being willing to listen to other ways of looking at things. And people who like to control and manipulate people through guilt and anger, then when they hear stuff like I'm teaching, it brings up anger in them.
So right.
There may be some people right now that's in this room feeling irritated because of what I'm saying, because they know they're doing it. They know that they're getting angry, or they know that they're projecting, or they know they're suspicious, or they know they don't distrust, and they know they have a real fear-based mind. So when you talk like this, it's a temptation for them to feel really upset because they know they're doing it. But the fortunate thing about people who are fear-based is that if you leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. I say it again. People who are fear-based believe in separation. So if you're truly being loving and they really are fear-based, they can't be around you for very long. So they'll leave you. That's why sometimes when people get on a new spiritual path, they'll say, I thought I was going to have tons more friends. Look like a ton of people dropped off. And I didn't do anything to get rid of them. All of a sudden, I'm sitting here by myself on Saturday night, And it's really because you're in transition to attracting people who are more loving to you. And if you'll be patient, they'll be replaced with people who are more sane. Because why would you move away from a person who wants to be more loving? Does that make a lot of sense? That would be the person that you wanted to get away from, is the person that's being more loving? It doesn't make any sense. So the next thing it says here is, in the service of uniting, it becomes a beautiful lesson in communion, which is joining minds, and so which has value until communion is. The Holy Spirit, this is God's way, or love's way of making unlimited what you have limited. So how do we become unlimited? We become unlimited by using our bodies to join minds and hearts. That's how we become unlimited. Because we all think we are in bodies, and we think we are bodies, so why don't we use our bodies to share love with each other? And I've done this for many, many years, so I keep separating love and sex. They're not the same thing. They're not the same thing. They're not the same thing. So love everybody doesn't mean having sex with everybody. And everybody don't want to have sex with you no way. I don't know how to tell you, but there isn't a great big variety of different body parts. Basically all the male bodies in the room have the same male body parts, and all the female bodies in the room have the same female body parts. They're just different shapes, sizes, and colors. So that's not rare. But what's rare is to hook up with somebody that got some damn sense. Now, that's the person you want to find.
Not so common.
That's what I'm saying. Common sense is not so common. Body parts, I'm telling you, it's not like, it's like I got a nipple on my neck. You know what I'm saying? So basically, our body parts are pretty much located in the same place and are the same thing. So don't make that the goal as if it's rare. Okay? Okay? I used to do that. I thought it was rare or something, But it's not rare. But loving, kind, sane, responsible beings, that's rare. That's what you want to look at. And then I've never met a sane, loving, kind, responsible being that didn't have body parts. So that part was kind of taken care of also, if we can get real here a moment. Okay? So I'm glad I'm beginning to recognize what's truly valuable, which is the consciousness of the being that you're with. That's what's really valuable. So then the Course in Miracles says, the Holy Spirit, which is your loving mind, does not see the body as you do. So a loving mind doesn't see the body as you do, because a loving mind knows the only reality of anything is the service that it renders God on behalf of the function God gave it. So what does that mean? It's your body, nothing about you is any more real than how you're using it for love. There's nothing about you that's any more real than how you're using it for truth and how you're using it to be a light on the planet. The Course is saying the only reality of anything is the service it renders God. The only reality of anything is the service it renders the universe, spirit, love. I'm using alternative definitions for the term God. Okay? Yeah, it's like, I'm no more real than how much love I'm bringing into your life. I am not real if all I'm bringing is more conflict, more drama, more projection, and more blame. Then what is your value?
If you're not adding to me.
Yeah, if we're not adding to each other, what is the value of it? So that's important. Any questions in the comments about that? That was quite a bit that I said. Anybody online, anybody in the room? It can be a comment, if you want to give us the benefit of just what thoughts you're having about what you heard. Yeah.
So one of the dialogues going back in here started with Stephanie stating that the more loving she's been seeing her friends that are fear-based, respond to that. So we had a dialogue online back and forth about how our love can be painful to those who aren't ready yet to leave their pain.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because what you're doing is you're honoring that person, and you're not seeing that person as a victim of what they're going through, and you're focusing on the truth. And what we've been taught in the world is that if someone cares about you, they join in the suffering with you. That empathy is you're suffering, and now I'm suffering with you. Now I'm your friend, because now I'm suffering as much as you are. As if somehow or another, if you put your hand on the stove and burn your hand, if I put my hand on the stove too and burn mine, now I'm being empathetic. How much sense does that make? None. So you're miserable, so unless I get miserable with you, I don't care about you. What I need to do is have compassion for you and show you that there's an alternative to the way you're feeling. That there's another way you can feel. Because all of us feel the same things at different times, and so we think we're different. Today I feel sad, today you feel happy. So I go, oh, how could you be sad? I don't understand that. Then tomorrow I'm sad and you're happy. And then I go, well, I don't understand how you could be sad. We all go through the same things. We just do it at different times, so we think we're different. And the Course says we're not different at all. We just do the same things at different times. We even have the same goals and just do it at different times. I'm looking for something outside of me to make me happy. You're looking for something outside of you to make you happy. You're looking for a person. We really aren't as different as we think we are.
Right.
That's kind of the illusion, is that we're different. But we're actually the same. We're all unlimited beings creating our reality through our thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs. And we're more than our bodies. And this is Earth School, and we're learning how to evolve. We come here temporarily, learn our lessons, and then we exit and go home. Some of us come here knowing that. Some of us forget it completely. And then we become more terrified than anybody here because we believe this is all there is.
And Nana has a great follow-up as you were talking. She said, and are they actually showing us the pain that's disappearing from our own lives? That by seeing their reaction of pain, they're actually showing us the pain that's left our own lives.
That's true. Everybody's mirroring is a three-dimensional mirror of what's going on inside myself. Oh, this is good stuff. I need to hear this today. Anybody else need to hear any of this? Any of it? Any of it? Good. Any of it. So that means we're not alone. You're not alone. There are other people just like you feeling what you're feeling, going through what you're going through. And when you learn forgiveness, the more you wake up spiritually, what you'll be finding out is that you're not learning to forgive somebody else. You'll find yourself using that capacity to forgive yourself for what you think you've done in the past. The more you wake up, the more you realize you want to forgive yourself for how many times you were loved and didn't recognize it, or how many times you were loved and you attacked the person, or how many times you were told it's selfish and you only were cared about getting what you wanted. You'll find the forgiveness more and more is a forgiveness of yourself. And that's why it's important to learn to forgive. So anybody, any thoughts? Yeah.
What I'm hearing from this section is like our body is our love vehicle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that. It really like.
That's right, baby. You got a Rolls Royce.
You're my Porsche.
Yeah, joy makes people go into paralysis. You know what I'm saying? It's so funny. It's so funny. We say we want to be in a joyous experience, and then we see it and we go. You got to add your joy to it. You got to add your joy to the experience. Somebody else. I just saw somebody. Yes.
What I'm taking away from this, well, a few different things, but one of the biggest rubies is like the prayer that I want to wake up with, and while I'm connecting with God and connecting with my higher self, is remembering that I want to use my body as a communication device to help me remember joy and peace.
That's right.
So that's my prayer of like, help me remember
right.
to use my body as a communication device to remember joy and peace.
That's right. And then you want to join with somebody else that want to use their body for the same purpose.
Absolutely.
And if you really want to use your body for that purpose, you will connect and draw other people to you who want to use their body for that purpose. Yeah. That's one of the ways you can tell if you really have changed your mind. Because when you really change your mind, there's no such thing as being alone in anything. So if you truly change your mind, you're going to draw people of a like mind. That's just a universal law. So if you think you're the most loving person in the world and nobody is ever interested in you at any level at all, ever, you might want to take a look at how you loving you really are, even though you're telling yourself. Because what begins to happen at first and more is that there are more people that want to connect with you than you actually have time to get around to connecting with. It goes just the opposite. It's like
So how
first,
do you deal with that?
You ask. You actually, and plus it tends to work out. I don't know how to explain it, but somehow or another, it kind of, that whole dance of a lot of people and how you spend your time is like, it tends to work out though. So you think that would be an issue, but it doesn't turn out to be the issue that you think it will be, really. First of all, thank you. If they're really conscious people, they're not going to put a guilt trip on you if for some reason there's something else that you want to do. That's the first thing when you start dealing with sane people. Sane people realize that if that's not happening, it's also to their benefit for it not to happen. And at some level, they're also creating that as much as you are, the fact that it's not happening. So sane people don't put guilt trips on you all the time about anything.
Are you
Now,
saying sane as an S-A-N-E or same?
It's S-A-N-E.
N as in Nancy?
N as in Nancy.
Okay.
Yeah. But you've been doing good. You've been able to decipher a southern black dude. So you've been doing an awesome job of being able to interpret. That's amazing. Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Sane. S-A-N-E. People who are waking up don't want you to feel guilty.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be putting guilt trips on you about the decisions that you make. Yes.
So two things.
Okay.
My experience with that has been that everything organically flows when we're willing to allow it to flow.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Diana said this beautiful takeaway. I'm taking away from this that I'm using my body to give and receive love because it's the function of my body. And this led me to my mighty companion circle here, the new friends in my awakened state.
That's right. You're going to be surrounded by mighty companions and mighty companions in your awakened state. Last paragraph that I'm going to cover. It says, communication ends separation. what? Communication ends separation. So if there's separation between you and anybody, actually true communication could end that separation. Communication ends separation. Then it says attack promotes separation. Doggone right. If you're attacking me, I don't want to be around you. I want to get away from you. And you're going to want to get away from me if we're attacking each other, right? So it's funny to say I want to be with you, but I'm attacking you. I want to be with you, but I'm totally projecting and blaming you all the time. The Course in Miracles is saying to me, attack promotes separation. The body is beautiful or ugly, peaceful or savage, helpful or harmful, according to the use to which it's put. So according to the use that you put your body is beautiful, ugly, peaceful, savage, helpful, or harmful, according to how you're using it. And I love this, and in the body of another, you will see the use to which you put your body. Right. You know, how you're using your body is probably the way I've used my body too. I probably use my body the same way you have used your bodies. And he only says there's two ways you're going to use your body, to join or separate, for love or fear. So when it says that, it's not talking about the form, it's talking about the content. You know, you use your body for love and happiness and peace, and sometimes you use your body for fear and anger and upset. So have I. So have I. And the Course in Miracles says, if the body becomes a means you use to give to love, the Holy Spirit, to use on behalf of the sonship, which is all of us, you will not see anything physical except as what it is. If I'm using my body for love, if I'm using my body on behalf of us uniting, then that's what I want to use everything in my life for. I want everything in my life to be used for love.
Yeah.
I want everything in my life to be used for freedom and joining and abundance and happiness. Not just my body, everything in my life to be used that way. And then when you join with other people who want to use theirs that way, that's when the party begins. You know what I'm saying? That's when the joy begins. And you terrify fear-based people when they see a lot of happy people joining together. You know, then it becomes, is this a cult? Right? It's amazing how joy is frightening to people. But attack and fear and blame cools them out. You know, people are coming in and be much more suspicious of me talking about we are unlimited and we deserve love than they would if you had walked in and I told you, then some people would have felt that they had walked in and I told them they were sinful and guilty and bad. Love frightens people who are fear-based. You know, because love is, they don't know how to love. They know how to be suspicious. They know how to doubt. They know how to distrust. They know how to separate. They don't know how to join, be open, be vulnerable, be, you know, that's scary. Only if you're trying to get. See, if I'm not trying to get anything from you, you can't hurt me. And if everything I give you is what I want to give you, you can't take advantage of me because I gave you what I wanted to give you. However you dealt with it was up to you. So I'm not going to hold back because of what you might do with what I've given you, because my giving of it is me receiving. See, my giving it to you was what gave me joy. See, but if I'm giving to get, then it doesn't work that way. Then I got to hold back because am I going to get back what I'm trying to get from this giving? So I think you could take advantage of me. See, you can't take advantage of me if I'm doing what I want to do. You see, so that whole argument about holding back because somebody might hurt you means you're not giving love. That means you're in the state of you're trying to give to get. And so don't be surprised if you meet somebody who appears to take advantage of you because you just wanted to get too. That's where you were coming from. So of course that's not a shock that that's where they're coming from. Because if you were giving from your heart, that would be the reward of the giving. It just felt so good to love you. Everything else is gravy. But, you know, but if I'm trying to get, then, you know, I took you out to dinner, but you didn't take me out to dinner. I called you 3 times, you didn't call me 3 times. You know, it's a bargain. Who want to be in the bargain? You know, some people, you know, they invite you out to, a number of times you start to feel uneasy. Because they'll say stuff like, even though it was their idea to invite you out, they'll say stuff like, I've invited you out 3 times and you've never taken me out, but I didn't tell you to invite me out to 3 times. That was your idea to invite me out to 3 times. So how am I owing you something? I thought just being with me was your reward. Right? Since you asked me, duh, I thought us being together, that was the giving and receiving. And we good to go now. You want to go out with me? I went out with you. Should be like perfect balance. Woo, Lord have mercy. I'm amazed. Any of us still survive here. It's an amazing thing to me. It is. This is the planet in the solar system that's a whole little mental hospital planet. Right? This is where all the crazy souls come. They come to Earth. They come to Earth so they can learn how to love each other. You know, like I've said many times, that's why no matter how far they look out in space, they see no signs of intelligent life because they stay as far away from us as they can. Right? So it's no evidence that they even exist. They put up. That's right, and you know, and the spaceships are what? Not abducting people, they're dropping them off. Nobody's being abducted, they're being dropped off. Y'all know this is the truth. All we have to do is look out for each other, love each other, and want to take care of each other, and to feel like all of us deserve to have love. And then 90% of everything that's happening on the planet would be done tomorrow. It would be over. All the problems we're seeing, all the hunger, everything, if we gave a damn about each other. That's the answer. And everybody, let's just ponder this. You know, I'm not going to automatically not like you because you got a different colored body than mine. That's common freaking sense. But to a lot of people, that's a big deal. I am my color. So therefore, you know, there's nothing that we are going through on earth that couldn't be solved through having common sense. Yeah. And you don't have to go to college for that. You know, my mom used to say, boy, don't you lose your common sense. And then, you know, keep up with that. And the Course of Miracles says the second coming of Christ is the return of your common sense. So you want to know what the second coming of Christ is? It's the return of your common sense. And common sense is, I don't attack you. Common sense is you want to eat as much as I do. Common sense is you need medical care as much as I do. Common sense is we're in this together. Common sense is let's not destroy the environment that sustains us. Common sense stuff. Common sense stuff. But the Course says the reason why that doesn't happen is because we have guilt and fear and the belief in sinfulness and that we're inherently bad at some level that we've been programmed with. And when people don't love themselves and they hate themselves, they do everything that's self-destructive. So if we don't love ourselves, then we're going to do everything to undo everything that supports us, especially our relationships, especially our environment and everything else around us because we're just looking out for ourselves to the expense of everybody else. So even that's not really complicated. I'm a scared person who doesn't love anybody, that believes the world has hurt me, and I'm out for myself. And that's why I don't care about what happens with anybody else. Or I just care about my special people, and I don't care about anybody else. It's just my family that I care about surviving. It's just my special relationships that I care about. Real love would be a village raising the children. You know, when I grew up, I had 10 mamas on my street. Back in the olden days. That's the way it was. Everybody knew everybody, and you had all these mamas on the street looking out for you and what's going on. So as a child, I was out all day long by myself and safe because I was surrounded by people who knew me and who loved me and we were all like that. That's what we got to get back to. We got to get back to knowing there's only one of us here. There's just one of us here. You know, and I love that what's happening now is that all the beliefs to the contrary are coming up to be healed. That's what we're seeing happening in the world. It's like pus coming out of a sore. It's all coming up so that it can be healed now. We're not deceiving ourselves about the level of the insanity and sense of separation that we have so that we can do something about it and becoming more loving. So actually, I've heard more people talk about love, for instance, since Trump got elected than I heard about people loving each other before he got elected. I've heard more people talk about we got to come together, we got to focus on the truth, we got to get more conscious, we got to get more active, we've got to come together. I've heard that more in the last year than I heard in the previous 10 years. So don't look at it through just one set of eyes. Look at what's going on through another set of eyes, and you'll see that what's happening is people are beginning to wake up to just how crazy we are so we can wake up to the love that we are. The Course in Miracles says if you will take something to its furthest extent, it'll get to the point that you won't accept it anymore. So if you take it, if I feel my jealousy completely without without holding it back. He says, you'll get to the point you go, oh, that's just too jealous for me.
That's right.
This is just ridiculous. I got to get rid of this. But when you don't take it all the way, you won't do that as fast. You know, all of you had the experience, you go, now this is just too broke. Right, you know, it's just broke, and then it's just too broke. Now this is just too broke right here. So I'm going to have to do something about that. You know what I'm saying? We do that. We do that. Let it go, take it to the limit. Fill it to the most, and you won't keep going in that way. So that is the truth about us. That is the truth about us. So let's acknowledge us for hearing this much right here. I just want to tell y'all that y'all awesome. All right, we're going to do the financial expression of appreciation now. Thank you. I thank you and for supporting my teaching ministry, as well as what you share also supports us being here at Unity Temple and allows us to still have this incredible place to teach and to meet. So thank you so much. Those of you online, if you would like to make a financial expression of appreciation, just go to my website, earlpurdy.com. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is what I do in the world. I dedicated myself to sharing and being a channel for love and the truth. I figured I couldn't forget what I'm always reminding somebody else about. So every time I do this, I get a chance to hear it again. So thank you for seeing value in what I do enough to share with me. I thank you so much for that. And it's okay for you to receive, and it's okay for me to receive. I'm not one of these spiritual teachers that think being spiritual means being broke and poor. Okay. If a basketball player can get a $100 million contract, then I think it's okay for me to receive a little bit or something myself. You know. Yeah. It's like it's funny. It's funny. So also online, I also want to let you know I do one-on-one sessions called clarity sessions. And basically what I do is show you how to apply all this stuff to some situation or circumstance that you're going through to heal it, as well as I've been an astrologer and a numerologist for over 30 years. And so I also know how to use that as a means of giving you information about your lessons, your potentials, your talents, and then what in the heck are you here for? Because we weren't just dropped here. We also got a roadmap that's available to us to use. And so there's much more to this than what appears to be. And we have a lot of guidance that's available to us that is on the other side of being open-minded. All of the ease of life is on the other side of open-mindedness. You'd be surprised at the things that will be revealed to you if you're open-minded to try things that sound weird sometimes. So I'm available for the clarity sessions. You can find out more about them by going to my website, earlpurdy.com, about those services. Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, I do online, Facebook Live, a class called The Way of Mastery. Thank you. And on Thursdays, I do a class called Hardcore Course in Miracles at 7 p.m. on Thursdays Mountain Time. And of course, this Course in Miracles class at 1 o'clock on Sunday Mountain Time. You don't have to be a member of Facebook to watch my live broadcast. You don't have to be a member of Facebook to watch my live broadcast. Just go to www.facebook.com/Earl Purdy Live. So you can refer that to people. Go to my page on Facebook and like the page or follow the page. Then if you are on Facebook, and then you will be notified whenever I'm doing a live broadcast. So you get a chance. And then I want to ask those of you online to share this video. I need your help. I want your support. So share the video on your timeline so that other people who are like us or open to what we're open to can join with us so that we can grow in the number of people who want to be more loving while recognizing we don't know what it is. And so we're learning what love is. And so here's a quick line from the Course. Love is freedom. Love is freedom. Love is freedom. Love is joining. Love is connecting. So don't tell me you love me and you can't free me to be who I am. That's what I mean by freedom. The Course in Miracles defines freedom as an innocent mind, because he says an innocent mind doesn't believe it deserves to suffer, so an innocent mind doesn't attract a lot of pain and suffering to itself. And that's one of the errors in our culture, is that we're constantly teaching people that they're guilty. I don't know about you, but in my religion, I learned I was born in sin. So as soon as I got here, I was told I was screwed. You know, I still was peeing in my diaper. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, all right, kill God's son. I just got here. You know, so it like, that sounds a little extreme. You know, at least we get a chance to go to the potty. You know what I'm saying? So when you think about the insane stuff that we were taught about ourselves, it's amazing. It's amazing that any of us are kind based on some of the things that we were taught. And that any of us want to be loving. So give yourself a break. You all are incredible beings. And it's no accident that you came here today if I never see you again. You know, that we went through everything we went through our whole life to get to the point that we ended up in the same place at the same time today, right now. That's not an accident.
Yeah.
That's not an accident. Usually it means you're surrounded by the people you need to forgive, even if it looked like you just met each other. If you took into consideration the idea of reincarnation, that spirit enters the body many times to grow, none of us are new to each other, really. So you don't know who's in this room, really, in terms of what you've experienced with them, you know. And so most attractions are not attractions to new people. They're really attractions to souls that need to forgive each other and learn to love each other at some level. You know that's true by how the relationships usually turn out.
Oh.
Think about it. Think about the things you go through in your relationships. You know, that's because that person isn't new to you, really. And you're not really new to them either. That's why you were attracted to them. I'll say it again. You know, that's why you were attracted to them. Why everybody in the room, this was the person you were drawn to. Probably somebody that y'all got a little lesson in forgiveness and love to have. So at the very beginning of the relationship, it's all passionate and loving and fun and good, and you can't get enough of each other. That's a preview of coming attractions. That's where y'all gonna end up when y'all get through your stuff that you got to learn how to let go of. That's gonna come up. Right? So you know you're capable of enjoying each other because you did at the beginning. So it's like, see what's going to happen when you really have some sense with each other? And then you have all the stuff that keeps you from having the sanity to come up for your learning experiences. So that in the end, that love is real. It's real. You can count on it because you have learned together. So I think relationships are awesome, but you don't need them to be happy because you're going to have them all the time anyway. So if you do choose to have a relationship with somebody, just know, do it as a choice. Do it as a choice, not as, you know, I would be miserable without it. No, it's a choice you're making. It's a choice you're making. You know, anybody that got innocence tell you it's easier being by yourself. You know, then you do what you want to do, how you want to do it, when you want to do it, as long as you want to do it, and you don't have to explain nothing to nobody about it. You can't tell me that's a hard life. Right? Okay. Sorry. You're right. That's not hard, you know. But you can also say, wow, I could have more fun. I could have new experiences by connecting with somebody for the purpose of what? Joining minds, joining hearts, using each other to wake up, being there for each other to help remind each other of the truth when you forget. Lots of advantages in being in a relationship. But you're not doing it from the perspective that something's missing from you. That's what you want to do. You want to do it from a whole place as much as possible. So that's what you want to use your body for. That's what he's saying. That's the right use of the body, is to use it to join. That's the truth. That's the truth. So we're blessed. You all are awesome. You're cute. You know, so at the very least, if you don't say nothing, you're going to get some dates. So just, you don't never have to be by yourself. Just be quiet. And because I look at, I don't have ugly people that don't come to my class. I noticed that years ago. Nobody ugly comes to my class. Look around the room. Ain't no ugly people in here. Nowhere in this whole room. That was my condition for teaching. I want all my students to be cute. I'm not going to do it. But see, I'm getting over that now. I'm getting over that now. As I change, I become more open-minded. So y'all are awesome. I love you. Thanks for coming. And remember, use your body for doing it for the correct way, which is for love and kindness and peace. Okay? Okay? Hugs are available. I love y'all. Don't forget, those of you online, I love you too. All right, see you next time, and may the course be with you.